This is our overview of the Business Administration Certificate Program. There's 5 sections to this presentation. There's an overview section, a program-specific section, program cost section, a section dealing with advantages of studying at NLC, and then finally some comments about what you do after you've graduated and you want to go on to another school. Oops, it's stuck. Okay, overview of the program. Okay, so firstly, we're going to talk about prerequisites. There's 2 key prerequisites in the course. Firstly, there's an English prerequisite and there's a math prerequisite. So in English, you need a credit in English 0190, English 30-1, or 60% in English 30-2. And for math, you need pure math 30, applied math 30, math 30-1, 30-2, or math 0190. If you're from a different province or outside the country and these course codes don't mean anything, but you have equivalent, then NLC will consider those. If you've been at a school a long time, and again, these course codes don't mean anything, NLC has an aptitude test that can measure your math and English abilities, and maybe you can get into the program without actually having these courses. Okay, so what are some typical employment opportunities for graduates from the Business Admin Certificate Program? So it really runs the whole range of from small businesses up to large businesses, and everything in between. So educational institutions, healthcare industry, government offices, and then large and small businesses. Some people end up running their own businesses. And in other organizations, you might end up in accounting, marketing, human resources. But again, it really depends on the particular business. Okay, what are some, what's the expected earning potential for grads in the program? These figures are not for grads in the program, but these are just some Alberta figures for accounting clerks. I don't know which year, but I think this is salaries after 1 year of graduating. So a typical salary of about $51,000, which works out to just over $27 an hour. Okay, so in a business, you have inputs and you have outputs. And the business converts the inputs into outputs. And after you create the outputs, outputs are known as products, so goods or services. After you produce the outputs, then you have to sell them. So business administrators can work anywhere in this entire process, procuring inputs in the manufacturing process or assembly process, producing the outputs, selling the product, or in all the back office work related to all these phases. And of course, the kind of work you do is going to depend largely on the size of the business. If you're a small business, you're going to do everything. If you're a large business, well, now you're going to have very specialized roles in different kinds of departments. So people in the business admin field can end up practically anywhere in the or jobs anywhere in the departments of a business. And these are just some specific kinds of job duties you might have. I'm going to skip it because what your job duties might be, it's really going to depend largely on the type of the business and the size of the business. If it's a small business, you're doing everything. In a large business, you'll have a more specialized job description. Okay, so firstly, we want to say that in the business admin program, some classes are delivered live. Typically, 2 or 3 classes per term are delivered live, and the rest of our courses are so-called asynchronous, which means there's pre-recorded material. But even for the classes that are live, they also get recorded. So if you miss a class, then you can rely upon the recorded material to help you. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that both the midterm and the final exams need to be completed either on an NLC campus or at an approved off-campus proctoring site. So typically a library or maybe another school, like a local high school or maybe an elementary school. Okay, so what are the courses in the program? So this says 2024. I mean, we really should be looking at 25, 26. Anyways, In the fall term, we have 5 courses: introductory accounting, introduction to computer applications, microeconomics, business communications, and business math. And then in the winter term, we have a second economics course called macroeconomics, business law, a second accounting course, organizational behavior, and marketing. Some students, so there's our 10 courses, our 10 core courses. Some students go on and take the optional business employment practicum in the spring term. And in spring 2025, we have 2 repeated courses. Business communications is going to be taught again, and introduction to computer applications is also going to be taught again. So that's the plan for spring 2025. I don't know what the plan is going to be for 2026. Okay, so regarding technology, so majority of the assignments that students do, they're located on publisher websites. And many textbooks are also only available in e-textbook format. And the book is often located on the publisher website. So you're going to need to have a good computer and high-speed internet access to access maybe the book and or assignments. And our program is designed for personal computers. A personal computer is a computer that has a Windows operating system, which is a Microsoft program, and we use Microsoft software. So it's a very good idea to have a desktop computer or laptop. I think it's a bad idea to try to use a tablet. It's also you would own your own computer, and you're not sharing it. You're not sharing it with your family. Why? Because you have lots of homework to do, and if you're fighting over who gets access to the computer, maybe you're going to lose out sometime. Some people do use their work computer. Some employers, they do allow students to do their work at their course at work. Anyways, you also need to have good high-speed internet access, or this is ideal because you need to access publisher websites for the book and or the assignments. We do appreciate that some students live in rural areas and the internet access is not quite kind of at the same level as in a urban center. However, that's going to be a challenge. Okay, so what are some costs associated with the Business Admin Certificate Program? So as I said before, there's 5. If you take a full-time course load, five in the fall and 5 in the winter term, the tuition is about $2,500 each term. Student fees, technology fees, so for a total of about $2,900. Then you have books, and we estimate that maybe you should budget $200 per book per course. So if you take 5 courses per term, and books are $200 each, that's an extra $1,000 per term. $200 is probably a little bit too high. Probably most books average, I'm going to say $100 to $150 bucks. But if you budget high, you'll be safe. There are no books in the spring term, but if you sign up for I shouldn't say that. If you sign up for the practicum course in the spring term, then there's no book associated with that, but the cost associated with the practicum course is about $800. So if you did all 11 courses, that's about $6,500, excluding books. So that's another $2,000 in books. Then the other thing you want to keep in mind is we said that you have to do your exams on campus or at an approved proctoring site. So if you live near a community that has an NLC campus, you can do your exams there for free. But if you do not live near an NLC campus, maybe you live in Edmonton, maybe you live in the Northwest Territories, you're probably not going to go to an NLC campus to do your exam. So you're going to have to go to a local library or another school, and they're going to charge money. They're likely going to charge you money to do your exams. Maybe if you live in a small community, they'll proctor your exams at no cost or low cost. But if you're in a big city, if you're in Edmonton or Grand Prairie, I think they charge a fair amount of money to do exams. But anyways, it's another thing to put in your budget. This is just a breakdown of those costs into more details. I'm going to skip it because it's just detail. Okay, so why would you choose to study at NLC? Um, so the Business Administrative Program helps you develop business key business and administration skills. So when you're finished your program, whether you go into the workforce directly or you continue on with further studies, either at NLC or another school, then you've got the background for both of those things. Um, NLC's been involved in distance education for 50 years, and in most recent years, of course, this has become more and more computerized. So most of the courses in the program, all the courses in the program, have been taught many times online, and they're pretty smooth courses. Okay, so I was going to point something out to you. This is an advertising slogan, and it's false. It says you can complete your education anytime, anywhere, and this is not true. This is just marketing fluff. In the Businessman's Certificate Program, we have pre-assigned assignment deadlines, and the exams need to be completed on pre-established dates. Yes, occasionally there's exceptions. You get sick, blah 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 blah. But generally speaking, you have to complete your assignments by the deadline and do your exams on the pre-established dates. You cannot do your work anytime you want. That's complete marketing BS. I don't know why they have it, because it's just not true. Okay, so a typical student does 10 courses. Come on. A typical student does 10 courses in 8 months. Start in September, finish by April, you're at the door. Some students do the 1 month practicum in the springtime. It's 1 month, but it's spread out between half of May and half of June. So you end up with 11 courses in 10 months. As I mentioned before, many students in the program, a very high proportion of students in the program are part-timers. So many students have full-time jobs, maybe take 2 courses per term and 1 in the spring, and they take several years to do it. If you're a high school student, you may be able to do high school courses and some business administrative program courses at the same time. And lots of students do this, and I think they find it challenging, but also rewarding. I do want to mention some things here. Oops, sorry, it's on the next slide. Okay, so on this slide, we have some student satisfaction ratings with the program and NLC over the last 5 years, and you can see the overall satisfaction ratings are fairly high. And likewise, with the historical students who would recommend the program and NLC to other students, again, recommendation level is fairly high. I do want to point out that there's some common challenges to students, and students typically underestimate how much work is involved in the program. There is a lot of work. Do not think that there's not. There is, especially if you work, especially if you have family responsibilities or taking courses at another school, especially if you've been at a school for 10, 20, 30 years. If you don't have a good personal computer or you don't have good internet access, if you try to do your assignments at the last minute, if you think that there's no such thing as a technology problem, you are misleading yourself. The internet goes down, publisher websites go down, your computer crashes. There are technology challenges. Okay, finally, what happens when you're finished the program? At the end of your first year, what are you going to do? Some students go directly into the workplace, or you're there already. Other students continue on with their studies, so you might go into year 2 of a diploma program in business management, HR management, or maybe accounting. And there's a number of schools here across Alberta that recognize NLC's business administration courses. And that is it.